Cool. All right. So the Raiders 2025 schedule. Um, Off the bat, just looking at it like overview wise, I think we got a favorable schedule. I think we play the NFC East, which is one of the tougher divisions, but I think we got some winnable games there. And then also we play the AFC South, which is definitely a division we can get some wins off of, for sure. I'm thinking playoffs off the rip. I think we can really make the playoffs. One of the things with the Raiders is that we have to win the games that we need to win, and we got to take a game or two off of teams that are better than us, which I think we can this year, especially with Pete Carroll. We'll see how the offense turns out. With Geno as our quarterback, I think our defense is going to be a lot better, stepping up, but our offense is going to be what's key, especially without Devontae Adams, especially without I think a few of our receivers as well, and our O-line is shaky, but I think Pete Carroll's a good enough coach to kind of scheme some of those holes up, right, where it's kind of like he can cover some of the areas that we're kind of lacking in. But yeah, let's hop right into it. The Patriots in Foxborough for the very first game of the season. I don't expect the Patriots to really they haven't made any drastic improvements from last year in regards to anything that looks like they're going to be a better team than last year. So I'm definitely think we're going to start the season off 1-0. It's going to be probably a closer game. We're still going to be trying to test the waters in regards to kind of figuring out kind of what type of team we're going to be this year. But the Patriots should be a good win, right? Start us off on a high note and really and in Foxborough too. I think we can come away with that win for sure. So we're going to be 1-0. Next, we have the Chargers at home for a Monday night game. I like these odds. I like these odds of us starting 2-0, right? Especially because it's a primetime game. We're gonna be at Allegiant Stadium, right? Because usually when we play the Chargers at the beginning of the season, we play them in SoFi in Los Angeles. So for us to have them a primetime slot game at home, I think it's going to the odds are going to be in our favor for that. Washington away, I think that's going to be our first loss of the season. Washington's a tough team. I think between like Jaden Daniels, they have a good run game. Debo's over there now. We'll see what they do with Terry McLaurin. And their defense is stout as well, so I think they're going to be a great team. And it's going to be tough to kind of get that win at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or not, so I think it's PST, never mind. So I think it's going to be tough for us to get that win on an East Coast early morning game, right? Or early time slot game. So I think Washington, we definitely going to lose to Washington away. So that makes us 2-1. Bears at home week 4, we should win that. Easy. Shouldn't even be a contest. Again, these are one of these games that we have to win. I know they got Caleb Williams. I know they got a new coach over there. But I think for them, they're still trying to figure out who they are and what type of team they're going to be. I think we have a better talent, right? And a better, a more proven coach, a little bit more proven players. So I think we're going to get this win. Week 4, mark it down. We're going to get this win. So it's going to put us at 3-1. Right, I know that's crazy to say for the Raiders, but I truly believe we're going to be 3-1. At the Colts, away, these are one of these games that can go 50-50. Right, I think they're going to have a great run game. They're at home. We'll see how Anthony Richardson, and I think they have is it Daniel Jones over there now too? So we'll see who that starters are going to be. I'm really not really too concerned with their quarterbacks, right? But I am concerned with Jonathan Taylor in that defense. So I think being this 50-50, I'm going to say it's going to be a loss, right? Because it's going to be it can go either way, but I'm leaning more towards a loss, right? It might be a close game. I'm talking about like 20-17 type of game, where it's kind of real run heavy and a lot of defense. Not very high scoring, so 20-17 in the favor of the Colts. So that puts us at 3-2. Titans at home, another one. Same thing with the Bears, right? They're not a good team. Starting a new quarterback, it's got a lot of issues in terms of figuring out what type of identity they want as well. So that should be like a no-brainer at home type of game. We win that. So yeah, that's October 12th. That's week 6. So that puts us at 4-2. Kansas City. We are week 7 in Kansas City. That's going to be a loss. I think they're going to start, Kansas City is one of those teams that where we either play them at the beginning of the year or at the very end. We might have a better chance because they're either just getting warmed up or they really have nothing to play for because they're going to go to the playoffs at the end of the season. So they kind of rest their starters. That's kind of been the only time we've been able to seem to beat Patrick Mahomes, right? As well. So, but because it's week 7, the middle of the season, I think they're going to be rolling. I think they're going to have all the ducks in a row. About 4-3? Yeah, we're at about 4-3 going into the bye, which isn't bad. As long as we're 500, above 500 going into the bye, I like our odds the rest of the season, right? As well. So after the bye, we come back week 9 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That should be a win. At home, again, we lucked out with the schedule that we get the Bears, Titans, and Jaguars at home. Because those should be guaranteed wins. 5-3. So I think going into week 9, we should be 5. Or after week 9, we should be 5-3. Week 10, another tough divisional game in a primetime slot. Thursday night football versus the Broncos. That's going to be a tough one. I got that being a loss. Playing in Mile High. Bo Nix is looking nice. Sean Payton in that offense. It's going to be good. Their defense is always stellar. So kind of going that short week playing in Denver, right? That altitude is going to really get to us. So I think that's going to be a loss, unfortunately. So that puts us at, 5-4? And we play the Cowboys for week 11. Primetime slot, Monday night. And I think we're going to win and move to 6-4. I think we always have the Cowboys number when it comes to primetime games. Right? I think the last time we played them, it was it Thanksgiving? And we beat them there, right? We beat them the time before that as well. So I think we've always had the Cowboys number. And I think usually by week 11, they're kind of like derailing that. So I think they start to come off the tracks kind of like toward the back half of the season. So I definitely think we got the Cowboys number for week 11, and we'll go to 6-4. Browns week 12 at home. I want to say we come back with back-to-back wins. Right? If this was in Cleveland during November, I would say we have a little bit more issues because we play in a dome, and Cleveland has like the weather and things of that nature. But it being home, I think I'm very confident that we're going to get the dub and move on to 7-4 going into week 13. And that's when we have the Chargers in SoFi in Los Angeles. And I think that's going to be a loss. Can't remember the last time the Raiders won 3 games in a row, right? And I think that might have been, I can't even recall that time. Maybe been like 2020 or 2021, but it's very rare that the Raiders do win 3 games in a row, especially coming off of the Cowboys and Browns wins. I think we're going to be riding high, but the Chargers are going to be a tough team. I think the division is going to be close in terms of the playoff race. Maybe wild card, right? So I definitely think the Chargers are going to have our number that game. So that puts us at 7-5, and then we go into week 14. I think we bounce back against Denver. We win. I think we always get a win off of Denver every year. either in their house or ours. And because we lost, I already predicted we'll lose the earlier game. I think we come back and win Week 7 against the Broncos as well, and then that puts us at 8-5. And then Week 15 in Philly in December against the reigning Super Bowl champions. That's going to be a loss, right? Because they're just too good of a team, right? They're just too good of a team. 8-6, heading into Week 16. Unfortunately, we're going to take back-to-back losses, right? Houston, especially now I know they got Nick Chubbs on the roster. If he can stay healthy with C.J. Stroud, those receiving core over there, and they got a pretty good defense in Houston. If we can get that win, great. I'm not really expecting that. So I think that's going to be kind of a tough game for us to kind of close out. So that puts us at 8-7. Week 17, we have the New York Giants. That got to be a win. I don't care. I know it says TBD for the date and time, but we got to win that game. That should be a no-brainer. I know they got Russell Wilson. I know they got better as a team. But Giants is one of those teams you got to beat, right? You can't lose to them, especially when you got it's time for the playoff push. We're probably going to be competing for a wild card at this time, especially this game being at home. Not even in New York at 9-7, and then we have Week 18 against the Chiefs, which I definitely think is a blessing in disguise, right? Because I'm predicting that by this time the Chiefs will have already wrapped up the division, right, and kind of are going to start and locked in their playoff positioning. So they're going to be resting their starters for this game. Predicting that the Raiders will beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I know. Last week of the season. And we will finish off the season 10-7. Not a wild card, but we'll probably get a wild card spot and have to play in the first round of the playoffs. But that's my prediction. I think we are making the playoffs this year. I think we're a much improved team. I think Pete Carroll, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, are better than what we had prior. I think the energy is up. I like the improvements that we made. Hopefully Geno can be at least a little bit more consistent quarterback than like Aiden O'Connell or people that we had in the past as well. So we'll see. Fingers crossed for all of our Raider fans. But that's my prediction. 10-7 this year. We're making the playoffs. Wild card. And once we get to the playoffs, I don't know where it's going to happen. We'll probably get bounced in the first round. Doesn't matter. At least we made the playoffs. But that is my prediction.